Hi, I'm Matt.
Hey there, I'm Bianca.
And in this video, we're talking about the differences between the large lifestyle ships and the small lifestyle ships.
So stay tuned, we're the Traveling Swingers. He always starts the videos and he doesn't even know I did this. I just jumped in because damn, you're looking fine. You always get to compliment me.
Right.
But oh my gosh, panties are already dropped. Like, I'm just saying, panties are gone for the rest of the night. Fuck, you look good in a suit.
Thank you.
I feel like a giddy schoolgirl. I have, as he's getting dressed, I'm like, oh my gosh. Every little bit that he puts on, I'm like, put it on, but I want to take it off, but put it on.
So you like a guy in a suit?
I like this guy in a suit for sure.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, you look so hot.
And I couldn't help but noticing your boobs.
Yeah, well, you know, that's normal for you, right?
Yeah.
It'd be a weird day if you didn't notice my boobs.
That's true. That's true. So we are actually on the Jewel of the Seas.
We are.
This is a swinger cruise that we are just finishing up. It's the last night, so we're all decked up and ready to go pick up some people for the last time before we get off the boat in the morning. So this is a good way to do it, is just to dress to the nines. So.
Right.
But we wanted to talk about just the differences between the different lifestyle cruises. So we actually have been on quite a few lifestyle cruises, and of course there are some that go to the Mediterranean and go to Europe and all of those, but we wanted to specifically focus on a question that actually comes up a lot from people in the United States, which is the two big cruises that happen that go into the Caribbean, which are the better ones. So which is the better one between them, and it boils down to there are two of them. One happens in November and one happens in April every year, and one of them is considerably larger than the other.
Correct.
Now, last November we went on the Oasis of the Seas, which was the biggest lifestyle event in history.
Right.
It was big. Now, it was supposed to be 6,000 people, but because of all the COVID restrictions, they actually only ended up being a little over 4,000. Which, of course, 4,000 is a ridiculously large number of people. Anyway,
who's gonna complain at that number, right? That's if you can't find someone on that ship, you're not looking hard enough.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, there are a lot of people. That's actually one of the things we wanted to talk about, is the sheer quantity of people.
Right.
And then, of course, after that event, we have this one that we just finished up, or just finishing up on, and that one had about 2,300 people on it, as we've heard. So about the half size as far as the other one is concerned, and they both have been amazing.
Oh, for sure.
There's no question about that. So this is our 7th or 8th lifestyle cruise. We're not sure exactly the number.
We lost count, unfortunately.
Yeah, because we've been doing these for about a decade or so. We did 5 or 6 of them, and then we discovered hedonism in Jamaica, and we said, ooh, this place is amazing, and we started to go to that one over and over and over again. And then when we heard about the Oasis of the Seas, and we're like, the biggest event in history, we must be on that boat.
Absolutely.
And we went on that boat, and it was the most amazing time, and we actually did a review of that cruise, which you can see if there's a link up on top. Just kind of click on that. And then we decided to go on this one because we had such a good time on that one.
Right. And kind of going on that one kind of reminded us how much we loved cruising in the past.
And but people keep asking us, what are the differences? Which one should we go on? And the answer is not that clear cut.
No.
There are a lot of differences and a lot of similarities between the two. First of all, you're going to have a good time no matter what.
Absolutely.
They are amazing cruises. They cover everything from fun events to ways to meet people to amazing playrooms, and they're all just fantastic. We've never had a bad time on one of these cruises, and we've never heard of anybody having a bad time on one of these cruises, which is great. So at the very least, join us for either one of them. Doesn't even matter. But the larger ones that happen in November, those ones are big. As we said, I mean, they are big events, which is great if you're like you'd said, if you can't find someone to have sex with, you're doing it wrong.
And you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah, and that is very true. Because there are thousands of people on them, you could see every walk of life, from young to old to big to small to everything. You can find anything, no matter what your kink is or anything like that. they're here on these boats because there are just so many people. However, there is a negative to that as well, which is there are a lot of people on the boat. So, for example, and we've said this many times before, on the larger ships, if you happen to run into someone, you want to make sure that you are handing them a slut card or a sex card, whatever you want to call them. Basically, information that has your name and photograph and your cabin number. And if you happen to be walking by somebody in a hallway or at a meet and greet or whatever, you better give them that card of your information, because the odds are you will never see them again. There are just so many people on the boat, it's just hard to accidentally run into someone.
Right.
It happens, but the odds are bad. We actually use a context of this couple that we've known for years, and we had met them on a cruise, and they live on the other side of the world, and we were so excited to see them on this next cruise that we knew they were going on. We talked to them beforehand, and they were excited to see us. We were excited to see them, and we were such good friends that none of us got each other's room number, and we saw each other on the first day, and we're like, oh, this is going to be great. We're going to play all the things, and then we never saw them again the whole week, and all four of us were looking for each other, and it just never happened.
Yeah.
So when there are that many people on a boat, you have the potential to run into that. On these smaller boats, and we've definitely noticed that, and that was one thing that we've really, really enjoyed about this cruise, is yes, it's only 2,300 people, which is of course still a huge number of people. However, in 6 nights, you are running into the same people, which means you can have better connections with others. When you find someone and you talk to them and you have conversations after conversations and you flirt and you touch and all of the things that eventually will take you to the bedroom, the more of those connections you can make with someone, the better it's going to be. And that's something that we talk about all the time. It's just going to be, but honestly, the sex is going to be probably better as well. So connecting with others on a better level than accidentally just kind of running into someone and going, ooh, you're cute, let's go to the playroom. Which, there's nothing wrong with that either.
No.
And definitely that's going to be something more with the larger ships that is easier to do, because you just have not met everyone on the ship. That's impossible. But on these other ones, or on the smaller ones, you definitely can see the same people and run into the same people and accidentally sit in the hot tub with someone that you talked to last night at dinner and move things forward that way.
Well, I think too, sometimes you'll find that some people can be creatures of habit, where you walk past the bar and you will see them at that bar every night, 7 o'clock. They always go to that same bar because whatever, they make the best drinks there. Those people like that. You know, there's one bar on this ship that you walk through to go to like a smaller playroom, but also like karaoke and dancing and stuff. So I met a couple that sit facing whoever's walking this way, and so they always see who's walking, and they can be like, hey, how's it going? So they've got a good spot to where they can just talk with people and meet up, and so that works well enough for them. So it's kind of nice if you have a spot, and then, you know, maybe you tell people, well, we're here every night at this time. You know, if you're not maybe into the parties or the karaoke or that kind of stuff, you just kind of like to chill and have a cocktail and meet some people, then that's kind of a nice way to do it, is just, hey, we're always in this bar at 7 o'clock, come find us, have a drink with us.
Yes, and that's something that I was going to get into next, which is because the other ship is so much larger, they also have a different layout, and what they have on the big ships is what's called the promenade. Now, the promenade with the Oasis class of ship is this large centralized location. It's basically I almost call it like a mall almost.
Yeah, it feels like a mall.
That you would just kind of walk, and it goes down the distance of the ship practically, and it's all interior, and it's just a good place to just kind of sit.
People watch.
And like you were saying,
shop for people.
Sure. You could sit in a spot on the promenade.
I'll take that one, and that one, and that one.
And you do that.
I mean, don't we all?
And you could sit at a bar on the promenade or in just some random chair or spot, and the party will come to you.
Yeah.
And it also makes it a really good spot that, for example, if you don't have dinner plans, that you could sit at a bar somewhere at 6 o'clock at night, and suddenly someone just comes up and starts talking to you, and you can be like, hey, do you have dinner plans yet? No? Okay, perfect. Let's go to the restaurant at the end of the promenade and have dinner. And that's really, really nice. And that's something that actually is lacking on the smaller ships. So the smaller ships don't really have a good centralized location for doing things like that. There's just a lot less to them as far as restaurants, as far as just bars that you can hang out, just as far as just kind of sitting spots. True, because it's a smaller ship, if you were looking for someone you could just wander the ship, I mean, there's only so many places they could be. If it's a, of course, a public place, but it's still, there isn't a good centralized location. So we love the promenade on the larger ships because when we don't have plans or we have nothing to do, that's just a good place to just kind of wander up and down and start conversations with people. And that is lacking on the smaller ships. It's not necessarily a better or worse thing because on the smaller ships there are places you can go. You can do like what you had said, where you're just kind of like, hey, we're going to be in this bar every day at 6 o'clock, come find us. Because we've done that on larger ships as well, where we tell people beforehand, we'll tell people whether it's in a Facebook group that we're having conversations with before the event, or we'll put that on the back of our select cards, and we'll just hand that to people early on in the cruise and be like, hey, every night at 6 o'clock we're in this bar. If you'd like to come say hi to us, you'd like to find us, you'd like to have dinner with us, whatever it might be, this is where we're going to be every single night, and then we just kind of make plans from there. So you could do that on either one of the cruise ships, but on the smaller ones you kind of have to do that. Or of course you can just always go and do what we did on this cruise.
Playing dinner roulette.
We play dinner roulette, which is fun. If we don't
enjoy it.
If we don't have dinner plans, we will just go to the restaurant, the big dinner restaurant, sit down restaurant, and say, hey, could you please sit us at a big table? And we will just sit with whoever. And being that this ship is full of lifestyle people, every single person is interesting. Every single person is fascinating, no matter what their story is, whether they're 25 years old or they're 85 years old, or they're brand new or they've been doing this for decades. Everyone is fascinating to talk to. So we love that. Whether we're attracted to them or not, it doesn't even matter. It's not about that. It's about just meeting as many people as possible and connecting in that way. And so that's okay too if you do dinner roulette. So
it's fun.
And of course, because of the size of the larger ships, there are many more food choices. There are many more restaurants. There are many more things to see and do. On the smaller ship, you have the Windjammer, which is basically which is basically like a buffet, and you have the nice dinner restaurant, and then you have a few extra pay restaurants that you can go and you can have a nice steak, or you can have Italian or whatever it might be.
Japanese.
Right, and those are wonderful, but that's really about it.
There is a coffee shop where they have little snacks and a little snack shack, but the hours are limited on the
Exactly, and the larger ships just have more, and they seem to be a little bit better about around-the-clock dining. We have run into a couple of times here on this ship where it was 7:30 at night. We want to go to the buffet to just kind of, you said, hey, could you grab me a lemonade or something, pretty
Probably
basic.
Not lemonade, but yeah.
Something pretty basic. and I went over there and it was closed. It was like, oh, okay. And it was just like, or you said, get me a snack or something. And it was like, literally there was one coffee shop on the entire ship that was open at that point to get something. And so it was like a dessert bowl or some fruit or something like that. I mean, it was very, very limited.
Oh, yeah. It was the night that I was like, I just wanted something sweet. And you came back with like a fruit bowl that was mostly pineapple, and if you know me, I don't do pineapple, so I think I had two cantaloupe and one honeydew, and the rest of it was pineapple. But yeah, that is something that we've noticed a bit on this ship, is that because people in the lifestyle eat at weird times, you go to bed really late, oftentimes you wake up really late, you're busy during lunch, so you need a snack. There was another day where we were so busy until like 3 or 4 o'clock that we never had lunch, and so we went to go grab a snack before we had dinner, and the Windjammer was closed, so we couldn't get food. We ended up finding at a snack bar that had like the delicious pizza that they have on board, and that but that it's just not what we wanted. And granted, at that point, beggars can't be choosers. You eat your pizza, and at least there's something in your belly.
Right.
But it's nicer, it'd be nicer if we had choices and didn't have to eat that pizza.
And because we've been on the larger ships, we've actually seen the comparison, so we can be a little bit greedy about that. Like, we want to have lots of choices all day and all night, because that's just kind of what we're more used to. Yeah, and we just didn't have that on the small ship. Right. There's still things to find, but it just wasn't as much of an option. On the other hand, the playrooms, which of course is where you go when you want to have fun with another couple, do seem to be much easier on the smaller ships because there are less people.
Right.
And for example, on this ship, they had 3 different play spaces surrounded
really
around the ship.
They've done a really good job on this ship. I have to say, I've noticed a lot of people have been complimenting the playrooms on this ship. And I love that the playrooms, and I don't remember this on past cruises, so I don't know if this is a new thing or if this is just mostly like ship to ship, but the last 2 cruises that we were on, the last one and this one, they had outdoor playrooms. I mean, it was inside but outside, like the roof was open and they may have had like stuff up on the side, glass up, so you don't, get too much wind in, but man, that really is nice, especially when you're really getting hot and heavy and you start to get sweaty and warm. It's just nice being outside, and you don't have all that sex smell everywhere. I really love it. I really think it's great to have the outdoor space.
Sure, and because there are less people on the ship, there is more space available to play.
Yeah.
Like we played with a group of people and one evening, and oftentimes on the larger ships, you'll go there, and this is a common complaint. You'll go there and you'll be hot and heavy with this other couple or this group, whatever's going on. You're like, all right, we're gonna play, and you get in the playroom and it's totally packed, and you're like, where do we go to have the sex? And well, then you'll eventually, you'll wander around a bit, and the mood's starting to die down a little bit, and then you'll see like a group, and you're like, oh, I think those people are almost done on that bed. Let's just stand right over them and watch them, and as the second they get off the bed, we can kind of just pounce on that bed, and it could be a few minutes, it could be quite a while, and in the meantime, you're like staring at your watch, and you're trying to keep the other couple touching and all that kind of stuff, just to kind of keep things moving in the right direction. That's a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
It's a little bit difficult. On the smaller ship, we've noticed that it hasn't been a problem at all. That there are so many different play spaces that we could find a bed like immediately.
Yeah.
And that has been fantastic, because that has often been, like I said, it's a common complaint is when you can't find a bed. Now, of course, there are different times that it's busier at,
Sure.
I don't know, 11 o'clock at night compared to 10 o'clock at night, for example, that you want to, it's just going to be busier. It just is going to be. But just because there are less people on board with more beds, because they have so many spaces, it's just easier on the smaller ships. Now, of course, price is a factor that, of course, everyone looks at when they are deciding on what type of cruise to go to. Now, you're not quite comparing apples to apples with the larger one and the smaller one, so that actually makes it a bit of a difference on price. So, for example, the cruise in November will be 7 nights long, while the cruise in April is 6 nights long. So because of that 1 night less, it actually ends up being a cheaper price.
Right.
So that is actually a factor. If you want to save a little bit of money, you do the April cruise, and you can save a bit that way.
Well, also, if you're getting the drink package, that is per day, so you'll save on the drink package going on the shorter cruise as well. One of the great things we really noticed was the check-in on the ship was so fast, easy, seamless. And I do believe that part of that is just everything different with COVID, and just like they've streamlined everything. But for the November cruise, we stood in line for a while, and we don't mind standing in line. We have a good time, because everybody's getting there, everybody's excited. We're checking out everybody's outfits and their shirts with funny sayings, and like meeting people. It's a mandatory meet and greet. Right. You meet and greet people all around you, and so we never had a bad time, but we did stand in some lines for a while, and I remember in November saying, wow, this was really fast and streamlined compared to the past. Not so much this time.
Yeah.
This time we had a specific check-in time, which we did before as well, but we got here at our check-in time and walked right to the first thing, and they checked our negative tests. And that was the only hiccup, is that I didn't have mine pulled up, and my data is like nil. And so we had to stand off to the side while I waited for mine to pull up, and then he's trying to pull it up. And so that was on me, but we would have walked, right in. And we walked over to the next part where they like ask you a couple of questions and look at your passports and all that kind of stuff. And then that was like, I think there was one person in front of us, walked through that, and then I think the next thing we were on the ship. Like, it was so fast.
Yeah, from the second we got in the building to getting onto the boat was maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so impressive how quickly they get people in and on, that you're not standing in these crazy lines. So I do think that part of this one was, you know, being a smaller ship, fewer people on the ship, that allowed us to get on the ship a bit quicker and not having to stand in those lines. Just gets us to the drinks faster, right?
That's right.
Yeah, get us on the alcohol.
Yeah, so again, there's not necessarily more of a positive or a negative, because it is kind of fun waiting in line on the bigger ships. But if you want to just kind of just get on the boat, the smaller ones are definitely better.
Yeah.
It is, of course, generally easier to get a room in April as well. That's something that we noticed years ago. For whatever reason, whether it's because you have kids or because of work or something along those lines, more people tend to be able to get off in November.
We'll have to wonder if part of it is spring break.
Sure.
So a lot of people have kids, they do the family thing in April, and then they do the couple thing in November.
Right.
So, yeah, it's definitely easier to get a room when a lot of the people with children have to go do that boring family stuff.
Yeah,
Get that out of the way and go on the November one.
Yeah, so oftentimes when they announce a new cruise, that'll be a good 2 years in advance, and you'll see people will book up pretty quickly. Like we had said earlier, you know, a cruise that we booked for last November, we booked 2 years in advance, right when they announced it, because, oh my gosh, biggest event in history, we have to be there. And everybody else thought the same thing too. So that one actually booked up and sold out fairly quickly, but as things moved forward with COVID, it actually, a lot of people dropped off, and it ended up not being a problem if you wanted to be a last minute cruiser. However, they usually do sell out quite a bit in advance. So the April ones tend to sell out slower as far as we've seen, so you might be able to get it a little bit last minute.
Not to say that you should wait. If you know you want to go, definitely book your trip in advance. But if you're a last minute traveler, or something fell off and you're looking for something to do, you might be more likely able to get a room. Right.
And the best way to actually get a room is, of course, to check with your local travel agent. The travel agent that we always recommend is SOP Lifestyle Productions. And if you go to swingeropenpoly.com, you'll find out all of the different cruises that are coming up and which rooms are available. It's actually really nice that you can go on there and you can see what rooms are available, and you can actually pick your favorite by what's available on the entire ship and book it right then, put your credit card in, and then as far as your down payment is concerned, and then you are booked, and then they set up a payment plan, and it's wonderful. So what you should do right now is go to swingeropenpoly.com and check out all the amazing events that are coming up. We actually have quite a few that we're excited about over the next few years, and you'll see them on the screen right now, and we just are so excited that travel has opened up again, and we can go places, and there's just so many U.S. and international trips that we have planned, and we really, really wish that you would join us for them. It's been very nice to be on this cruise again, and so many people that watch our videos and that have been watching them for a decade now that we've been doing them, come up to us and say hi and say, oh my gosh, we went on this trip because of you. You guys seem normal enough. You guys really helped us out with questions that we couldn't find anywhere else. And this is such a good example where people ask us all the time, which is better, a large ship or a small ship? And there isn't really a right answer. It just kind of depends on what is right for you. The best answer is go on both. Just go on all the lifestyle trips.
You make the decision for yourself, figure it out, and then you tell us what you think.
Exactly. So yeah, that's about it. Is there anything else that you want to say?
No, I don't think so.
All right, well, perfect. Well, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.